acting with Shah Rukh Khan is quite an obvious response. Getting to like jump off a bridge with him in slow motion style me, and he was poor thing, he was really sick that day. He had like a cold, but he like powered through it. He's a badass. So we were like harnessed up and getting to like slow mo, like jump off the bridge onto the trucks. Like I think that was pretty main character energy of us. I wouldn't say we were besties, like we were friends. I really enjoy her, but she's also very disciplined, which I really appreciate about her. Because she was always like in bed earliest, she was on set earliest. Like she really like just puts her heart into thing, and she's like super disciplined. I have a bias towards the project because I worked on it, so I obviously wanted to do well and I wanted people to love it. But now people have their own opinions, and so I'm not going to be like, you're being too harsh. Like if that's what you think, that's what you think. What's special about Ananya and why I also was drawn so much to the character from the first time I read the script was that she was kind of like a lonely heart, unrequited love tha uska. So
Hmm.
I've really felt that quite often in my life, like that I've loved someone who's loved someone else, so I've loved someone who didn't love me back.
Welcome to News 18 Showsha. I am Yatamanyu Narain and I'm with the multi-talented and gorgeous Aaliyah Qureishi, aka Jhalli, who recently impressed us all with a performance in Bandish Bandits and Nadaaniyan. So we'll be talking about that and the latest song, Ishaare. So glad to have you here, Aaliyah.
I'm glad to be here, Yati. Thanks for having me.
Right. So, your character Sahira in Nadaaniyan had many grey shades. So, what personal experiences or emotions, did you draw from to bring that complexity to life?
So I think one thing that kind of constantly I was thinking about, because she does a lot of things in the movie that are quite questionable, like I would never do personally.
Right.
In my late 20s, I would not. But one thing that I was constantly reminding myself is that she's a kid, at the end of the day, at that age, the no one is that,
As the
matured
name
or
of the
like,
film, Nadaaniyan.
sorry?
As
हाँ
the
exactly, सब नादान होते हैं उस उम्र
right.
में. So I'm not trying to like play an adult who like how would I deal with the situation or how would someone a bit more mature, but she's like just a kid. And I think something that really helps me when I'm playing gray characters, which she I think definitely was in the context of the film, is to kind of find their pain and find out what their truth is, because no one is just out to be a bad person, right? Everyone has things that trigger them and their own insecurities. So for her, I think the thing that kind of would always ground me to that character is that she's very insecure and very doesn't have a lot of love from her parents. And Pia, on one hand, you see that has that relationship with her family, whatever it is, but Sahira's parents were just absolutely absent from her life. So from childhood, the only person she's had and who used to be very different was Ayan. And so she
Right.
still remembers that childhood version of him. And I think there were some dialogues in the movie that kind of hinted at that, but it got cut in the edit, so you don't really get to see it that much. But
Right.
you kind of see that her relationship with Ayan when they were kids used to be very different. And then now, as they've become teenagers and the hormones have kicked in and all of that stuff, puberty has hit them really hard. He's
Right.
becoming very different, but she still can't see that version of him. So to him,
Right.
she's still that innocent Ayan who would never do something like what he did
Right.
in the film. So
Right.
to kind of ground myself in that reality made her, for me, like I never judged her while playing her. I was always just like, okay, this is her reality.
This is the right. So
Yeah.
high school friendships can be intense and formative. So did playing a student again make you revisit any parts of your own teenage years? Whether
Oh yeah, 100%, 110%. In fact, I would say like I was not the most popular kid in high school. Like I was quite socially awkward and like very nerdy. I think everyone in my school was quite nerdy, but I like was not popular. I
yes.
had I had massive social anxiety, basically, to put it honestly. I was like not at all like what Sahira is, confident and all of these things I've developed with age and because I've had to in this industry.
Right.
But so it was quite fun to go back and like play an alternate version of how high school could have been if I had just been confident and like, a bit secured in myself.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it did bring up a lot of that kind of that foolishness of high school and how like your whole world revolves around boys and stuff. And it was really fun because I'm like almost like 9 8 9 years older than Sahira is at this point, and I'm just like playing this child, and it's really fun to kind of be like, how was I back then? Like what were the ways, like how everything is like a bit over the top and like you're
Over the top,
more
yes.
expressive when you're a kid. So to kind of access that part of me again, it was really fun.
So you mentioned that the cast had workshops and hangouts to build chemistry. So was there a moment off camera that shaped how you performed on camera?
We did. We like for I think a month of pre-production, we actually met at the Dharma office, and we would all just kind of be uh going over the script like it was a play. Like we'd start from the first scene, we'd like run into like, and Shauna would just be watching us and correcting us and stuff. So that was really fun to kind of like figure out that even when you're not on camera, what's happening with the other characters and get kind of that information about the script. And then I think we did a lot of trust exercises also. So like I think that like the second day I met Khushi, and I think it was just me, Khushi, and Neil for this because Apurva had not been cast yet, and Ibrahim was like shooting something else or something on that day. So it was just the three or four. Aggie might have been there. I guess they've. Uh, and so we would just kind of stared into each other's eyes. So we would do two at a time, and I would just like be holding her hands and like they'd play like the interstellar instrumental
Oh,
music in the background. And we were just kind of staring at each other. And at first we were like, oh God, this is so awkward. And like, you couldn't speak. So for 4 minutes, you would just be like staring into the eyes of the person in front of you. And like, at this point, she's a stranger to me, right? I'm a stranger to her. We've never met or
right.
spoken before. And so it was like in the beginning, like, thodi hasi aati hai, you're like laughing, you're like, like, what are we doing? This is so
Right.
weird. And then eventually, like, it gets really like emotional and like,
Emotion.
yeah, because eventually, like, you're literally, they say the eyes are the window to the
Yeah, the
soul. So
music is also building up in the background.
yeah, 100%. That makes a difference. And so we were just like looking at each other and like both of us started to tear up and it was actually a very beautiful moment. And I think whenever I think of Khushi, like I think of that
Right.
moment, of like that just connection that we had where we weren't thinking about anything. We were just kind of connecting. And I think on screen um it helped me think of her as like my childhood best friend because I was going back to that moment of like just vulnerability that we had, even though we had just met like a week before shoot start. So yeah, that was a really nice moment that I had with all of the cast members who were there that day.
But I mean, how was your off-screen vibe with Khushi Kapoor? I mean, were you two like, besties when the cameras weren't rolling?
I wouldn't say we were besties, like we were friends. I really enjoy her, but she's also very disciplined, which I really appreciate about her, because she was always like in bed earliest, she was on set earliest, like she really like just puts her heart into thing and she's like super disciplined. And so yeah, I mean like we'd all hang out off set if that's what you're asking, but like besties is, I mean, a
Too
bit
far
much. I don't think I'm
off.
besties. I'm the only like people from my set, any set that I'm besties with are my Jawan girls. That's all I'll say.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because we had 2 years of shoot together. Like that's enough time, I think, to like get to like really know someone's depth and gore. You
And
know,
what was it like, working alongside Ibrahim?
that was really fun. Ibby's like fun, like the life of the party.
Right.
Really chill guy. So yeah, I mean, we'd always just be like shooting the shit, making jokes, all of that stuff. Really fun.
So coming of age stories are often about figuring out who you are. So what did Nadania teach you about yourself? I mean, personally or as an artist?
What did it teach me about myself? Good question. It taught me, well, I've never played a high schooler before, so it taught me how to like access a part of myself that I used to be that is so kind of alien to me now.
Right.
Um, it helped me. I've definitely auditioned for characters that are kind of gray characters before, but it's the first time I got to really like be in the skin of one. So it kind of helped me develop that empathy, like I was telling you earlier, that um that kind of not judging someone and just stepping into their shoes and seeing how life is from their point of view. And I kept my red hair for like a year after that. So it made me, I guess, decide that I like red hair and I'm going to keep it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did working under a female director, like Shauna, how did it influence, the tone or process of the film? I mean, especially in a genre which is often, leans on cliches.
Yeah. I love working with she's the only female director I've worked with and I loved it. And before working with her, I've always even said like it was one of my goals. I've worked with some amazing male directors, but I was like, I wonder what it's like. And I've heard so much from my actor friends that it's a very different vibe on set when it's a female director. And I did feel like she was a lot calmer, at least what I perceived. Every time I would say, oh Shauna, like you're so calm, like everything is falling apart and you're just like you seem very zen about it. She's like, I was not zen. I had like whatever yesterday. And I was like, well, I didn't see it. Like I've never seen her really like lose her temper on set. And it's really like a unique experience for me because I'm used to like I think directors, in fact, after working on so many projects, I think directors have to have a bit of anger. But such maybe if you're not feeling angry, they have to have like a bit of like a that
They have,
stern tone to get
yeah,
everyone in line
yeah,
because after like
everyone under
11 or 12 hours of shoot, people are dragging. I am dragging the entire, it's like a 200-person crew. So everyone is kind of like, like thoda sluggish and they're just kind of going slow. So you need to like whip them up, be like, what are you doing? Like, do your job. Come on, you're here to work. But I've never seen Shauna like lose her temper as such. And I think she was always there for me as an actor, like when I needed her. Like if I ever had a question about, like, okay, this scene is throwing me off a bit, like I don't understand why is she behaving like this and I can't find the truth in this, she would sit with me and she would like explain, like, look, she's a kid.
Right.
She also doesn't know what's going on, like it's overwhelming for her. So she'd, kind of walk me through that, and she'd always be free. Like even though she was doing 100 other things, she'd always make that time to come to my van if I had like an issue and like sort it out, and kind of like explain to me what I needed to hear. So I really enjoyed working with her.
Right, right, right. So, I mean, Nadaaniyan opened to mixed reviews, and both Ibrahim and Khushi also were trolled online. So, do
Yeah.
you feel people and critics were too harsh on the film?
I don't think that's me for me to say, because obviously, like, I have a bias towards the project because I worked on it. So I obviously wanted to do well and I wanted people to love it. But now people have their own opinions, and so I'm not going to be like, you're being too harsh. Like if that's what you think, that's what you think. Like everyone's entitled to their own opinion, I think. Um, I think that you just kind of have to develop a thick skin in
Industry.
this profession, because if you're gonna like take everything everyone says so seriously, then you're not gonna be able to work. It'll paralyze your creative process.
Absolutely.
So it ठीक है, अब मतलब नहीं पसंद आया तो नहीं पसंद, मैं क्या करूँ, मैंने तो नहीं मतलब I can't go into your brain and like control it and like
सही बात
this isn't Severance. I can't
सही
do
बात
that. तो हाँ, तो मैंने बस मतलब I made my peace with it and I was like, okay, fine, maybe you like Bandish, you didn't like this, it's fine, hopefully you like the next one, but it's not my.
Now, speaking about Bandish Bandits, I mean, over the past few months, more and more people have fallen in love with Ananya. So, do you feel in some way or another, Ananya has stolen the spotlight from Tamanna?
Again, I don't think that's for me to say. I think they both have their own place in the
Right.
story and in Radhe's life. I think also like people like to root for the underdog. What I think was special about Ananya and why I also was drawn so much to the character from the first time I read the script was that she was kind of like a lonely heart, unrequited love tha uska. So
Hmm.
I've really felt that quite often in my life, like that I've loved someone who's loved someone else, so I've loved someone who didn't love me back. And I think it's a very universal feeling. I think everybody has had that experience with someone, unless you're literally like somehow the most popular and beautiful person on the planet and everyone likes you. Like everyone's had that, and so I think a lot of what really touched me was a lot of people reaching out to me and saying that, like, oh, this is my experience, like I saw myself in Ananya, and like that
So,
as an actor means the world to me, to like that I've channeled some part of human existence and put it into this character, and if you can relate to that, then that's just more than enough. Now spotlight stole and all, I won't say, like, because obviously it's like Tamanna's the lead, it's like her and Radhe's story, but I would hope that Ananya has like a special place in people's hearts, even if they are Tamanna fans.
right. I mean, what kind of trajectory do you want Ananya to take in season 3 of Bandish Bandits? I mean, what kind of expectations do you have from that role?
I really don't think there's going to be a season. I don't know, because when we were shooting season two, Anand sir was pretty like certain that there would not be a season three. So we all went along with, हाँ ठीक है, season two में ही close हो जाता है, सारे सारे arcs wrap हो जाते हैं,
But
अब कहाँ जाना है, राठौड़ का मतलब they've fixed,
like,
they've
every
made up, कहाँ जा सकते हैं अब. Now, like, I guess some of the character stuff is unexplored, but now that's life, right? Like, you don't always, doesn't always work out with everyone. So I fully thought, okay, season two is over, no one is gets a happy ending romantically, but everyone gets a happy ending creatively. So fine, that's one way. Now people are like saying season three, like it's a cliffhanger. I really don't know. I don't
not
even
have
know if I'm
no
gonna be in
spin
season
off on
three.
Ananya.
What do I hope? I hope she gets a happy ending, man. Of course, I am rooting for the character, but now it's not life. Now it has to be. I think Anand Sir's was very clear that the ethos of the show is not about love, it's about
Yeah,
art.
music,
It's like love comes and goes, but your one thing that you always have
art,
is
art.
your art, right? So I think his thing was always like, I'm not even, once I even remember on the bonfire scene, that last scene, of the show. I like cornered him. I was like, yeah, sir, ये क्या बात हुई? Like, why am I not getting a happy ending? Ananya, तो कुछ तो दो ना, कुछ hope, कुछ Asha for the next. And he was like, यार ये क्या बात हुई? Like, you're not lovers, you're artists. So get that out of your head. Like ये सब बचपन में 90s rom-coms देख के सबको ये मतलब दिमाग में बैठ गया कि we always have to, like, the
Have
hero
some
and
kind.
heroine, हाँ, hero and
Yeah,
heroine always have to end up together, live happily ever after. नहीं होता ये जिंदगी में,
नहीं
we've
होता है.
experienced it so many times. So like, let's be realistic and um let's just show
Move
life like it is. And I was like,
on. Oh my
सही
god.
बात. I was like, I've never heard someone put it like that before, but absolutely right. Like, we need a little dose of realism also in life. So, you never know what could
Right.
happen.
Right, right. So I mean, your recent single Ishaare is about the little signs that point us towards someone. So do you remember the moment of feeling that sparked this song?
Yeah, of course. Well, so the first thing was that so Manchu and I wrote the song together, the co-singer and composer and writer. Um, so we kind of wrote it together, and we were sitting and thinking about like what to write it about. And first one something that we were both kind of going through at that time was situationships. I
Right.
think something everyone can relate to in this youth
In this,
modern day and age. है ना so I was like, what if you meet us, and it's just kind of hypothetical at this point, but it's like, what if you meet a situationship and it ends either two ways, right? Either one person catches feelings, the other person doesn't, and that person gets their heart broken and ends badly, or you realize, oh, this is something more than just a situationship. Let's make it into a relationship. So
right,
we were like, let's go with the much less common and more hopeful scenario of like a situationship that turns into a actual romantic attachment, and where this person is like, we're actually soulmates and why can't you see? And so in the duet, like the boy is the one convincing the girl, and the girl's point of view is that I've been hurt before and I don't trust people to love anymore, so let's just keep it casual, like इसमें क्या बात है, हमने तो वो वादा किया था ना पहली बार जब हम मिले थे कि कुछ नहीं होगा. And so it's kind of their back and forth, the jugalbandi of like, यार बजा नहीं तू कोई तो बजा दे मुझे कि
कोई
like
तो वजह दे.
why can't we be together, like it's perfect, like don't you feel it too? And she's like, yeah, I feel it, but like how can I trust it? And so it's just kind of a conversation, the whole song. It's very cool. I really like it.
I love this energy of there's a kind of innocence in the song, but there's also depth. So were you consciously trying to keep it light, or did it just flow that way?
I always, for me, music is a very spiritual thing. So even if I'm writing about the simplest thing, like a situationship, I try to add some, and it's not like I'm sitting there trying to be like, oh, how can I be deep, like racking my brain. But it just kind of happens that I find depth in everything. I feel like the end of the day, like the reason we create and the reason we make art is because it accesses a deeper part of ourselves, whether that's love, whether that's loss, grieving, something, it's like there's depth to everything. And so to kind of find that, I try to find it in all my songs, even if it's something simple. So yeah, I'm not like trying to do it, but I'm glad it comes through, and I hope it comes through.
Right. So you also mentioned that you made Sumanshu do acting warm ups before the video shoot. So I mean, it is really hilarious. So I wanted to know, I mean, what was that dynamic like?
It was really fun. So Sumanshu is, bless his soul, an amazingly talented musician, like fantastic. Like, he tours with Arijit and stuff. He's
Right.
brilliant, brilliant mind. Just he gets really nervous on camera, which is fair because I used to get it too when I started like 10 years ago acting. So so I just like, he was kind of like, यार आलू मुझे nervous लग रहा है, तो you know what should I do? And so I was like, तू chill कर, I'll show you some acting exercise just to lose. So like there are these things you do in like beginning intro to acting classes, can't you? Like, you just shake your
Uh-huh.
body like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, and you do your legs, and
Yes,
then you
yes.
do
I
nine,
remember,
you
back.
go up to 9 and you go back down. So just kind of like to loosen your body up. So we did that. Then we did I think we did the eye staring exercise that I was telling you about from Nadaaniyan.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so we did that because, yeah, because he was also feeling awkward because, like, we're good friends, but like वैसे कुछ कभी हुआ नहीं है, तो he's like
Uh,
feeling awkward to like put his arm around me and to like hug me and stuff. And I was like, यार तू free हो जा थोड़ा, मतलब it's fine, I'm giving you consent now, it's for acting. So I was like, stared into my eyes, let's do this.
you might freaked out. क्या हो रहा है ये?
Yeah, he was like, यार ये actor आ गई, it's crazy people.
Right, right, right. I mean, the video has a lot of softness and chemistry. So, how important is visual storytelling to you when you release a song?
I think as an actor and a musician, I think it's quite important because anyways we live in such an audio-visual world right now, right? कि like किसी का attention span ही इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है कि you can sit and just hear. I mean, unless you really love the artist, to like just sit and like give someone's music a chance. So I think
Right,
it's always more engaging, and I think it sticks with you more also if you have a visual to attach to it. So
right.
I don't think it's everything. I think a good piece of music is a good piece of music with or without any visual
It,
content, but I think it definitely is like a hook to kind of draw
it
people in.
adds to that, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, was there a version of Ishare that sounded totally different before it landed on this groovy, soulful tone we hear now?
No, actually, not really. We kind of, the production was pretty similar. And so the way it happened was Somo and I met at a party
Right,
and we heard each other's music and we were like, chal, let's collab on something. And then he sent me a beat like a week later. He was like, yeah, many a beat banaya, and that beat has pretty much stayed the same. And then we just met and kind of wrote lyrics over it.
right.
So it's honestly been quite like it was, and when the first time only I heard it, I was like, I love this. Like this is so good. And so I didn't want. Although we added the flute later, there's like a bansuri kind of.
Yes, yes.
And so that we added a real flute later. It was first just like programmed, and then he was like, I think it needs a real flute. And I was like,
Right, right. So, do you think today's generation still believes in, slow or subtle kind of love? Or, is Ishaare kind of, a reminder that it still exists?
I literally don't know what other people think. I feel like an alien sometimes. I think it does exist. I think certain people want it. I think many people don't want it. And I think that because we have so much option today with like, the dating apps and with
Right,
it's the world has become so globalized that you meet so many people that you think, okay, I can just swipe left, I'll get a better option. Someone else is a better option. But I think there's a few people like I consider myself a diehard romantic. And so I believe in a slow like getting to know someone, giving someone a chance, taking a chance on love kind of thing. Not that I've done it recently, I've been quite a dirtpoke when it comes to love, but I think I'd believe in it theoretically, like someday when the time is right and when the person is right. I think that um like I do believe in it, and I think that it's okay if you don't. Like it's not like love is everything, like Ananya and Bandish Bandits ethos would say. But I think that I definitely believe that it is something that makes life just really magical. And so I believe in it. I hope other people do too.
right. So,
Yeah.
you're a part of this new wave of Indian artists who, aren't boxed into, one thing. So, do you feel like the industry is finally catching up to that kind of fluid identity?
Yeah, 100%. I know so many musicians who are like either transitioning or have fully transitioned into acting. And I know so many actors who are now putting out their own music, and I know dancers who are becoming singers, and like, it's all kind of interdisciplinary. I think that's so cool. Because I mean that is creativity all comes from the same source only. Na, matlab,
Right.
at the end of the day, like it's all different arms and legs of the same creative energy that's within all of us. So I think it's really awesome. I would love to do even more. Like right now, I'm just kind of singing, songwriting, and acting. But I would love to even get into like someday when I have more knowledge about it. I would love to get into directing. I would love to get into screenwriting. I would love to, just like do as much as I can. I just want to do as much as I can before I die, pretty much.
So, when you're acting, someone else has written your words, and when you're songwriting, it's all you. So, do those, two sides ever clash or teach each other?
Yeah, I think they teach each other more than clash. I think you just kind of have to know what the vision is. And so when, like you said very aptly, that when I am songwriting, I am the driver, right? I am everything. I'm like the paint, I'm the driver, I'm the visionary behind it. And I'm the creator, like the person who's actually like singing and like putting it down into like solid form.
Right.
But with film and with TV and these kinds of mediums, I'm not the visionary. Like I have my interpretation of the character, but I'm in service to the script. I'm in service to the director. So like even for example with Ananya, when I went in with all my characters, so I'll give you Ananya as an example. When I went into Anand sir and I like kind of the first audition that I gave, Ananya was quite harsh because when I read the script, I didn't understand that there was like a softness in her. She just, if you just read the lines, she seems a bit like kind of arrogant, she's like, actually aap log kafi limited hai, like that's how much I played it. I played that like kind of like I know better than you kind of know it all vibe. And then Kashish the casting director told me ki ye vibe nahi chahiye hame. She's actually very like soft spoken and very not soft spoken, but very empathetic towards people who are less smart than her. So all those shades of like, and so many times on set, I was like, yeah, nahi, Anand sir, like I would be pissed if someone like if I saw someone say like, oh, ma hamare sath nahi gayegi, I would be like, what the shit? Like, how can you just speak on her behalf? Like, let the lady speak, But she was like, but you are not Ananya. Like, this is who Ananya is. This is not who Alia is. So I had to be like, I had to like put myself aside and be like, okay, this is how he wants it. This is his vision. So I'm gonna just be subservient to his vision. Okay, because
Music.
I'm an instrument. So I'm not the player. Like when
Yeah.
I'm a musician, I'm the player and I'm the instrument. When I'm singing, but when I'm acting, I'm just the instrument. I'm not so much the player.
So,
Yeah.
what's your main character energy moment in real life? One like a movie scene.
That's my song also for people who
I
don't know it. Yeah, my
that's
song with
that's why I asked
Sangeeta.
this question.
I know, I love it. I've done your research. What's my main sorry, what was the question? I got
Yeah.
distracted by the
What's your main character energy moment in real life? The one that you replay in your head like movie scene.
my main character energy moment. I think, I mean, acting with Shah Rukh Khan is quite an obvious response.
Right.
Getting to like jump off a bridge with him in slow motion style me, and he was poor thing. He was really sick that day. He had like a cold, but he like powered through it. He's a badass. So we were like harnessed up and getting to like slow mo, like jump off the bridge onto the trucks. Like I think that was pretty main character energy of us. And then in life, I think when I can play a really big show in
Right.
front of a lot of people, and like that makes me feel like a main character because everyone's just listening to my music and taking it in. So that's always really special.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, I mean, for young girls watching you in Nadani, or or hearing your songs, what do you hope they take away about being multidimensional and owning your own space?
Oh, I don't know, man. If you're watching me and you like me, I think that's enough. Even if you don't like me, if you're just watching me, that's enough. But I guess I don't want to give any cliched advice like follow your dreams and stuff because this shit's hard. Like it's hard to be in this
Uh,
industry. And it's not just like all rosy unicorns. Like once you get something, it's nice to be able to speak motivationally. But I really don't know. I don't know how I've got here. I don't know where I'm going from here. I'm literally just Ram Bharose, taking each day as it comes and doing auditions and like seeing what's up. Like that's my honest answer.
right.
But if you want like a flowery, bubbly answer, I'll say that have faith in your dreams. And no, it's just I would say like do whatever you can do. Like every kind of creative instinct that you have, follow it. Don't be boxed into one thing because we live in such a open world now where you can get and collaborate with so many people and you can learn so easily stuff that you don't know. You can learn it from YouTube, learn it from the internet. So like don't box yourself in, don't let anyone else box you in, because as a young girl I think that's the bigger thing, is that we are quite raucous as children. We are just think we can do everything, and then people tell us, oh, you can't, oh, you
You
need
know,
to be more like this, or you need to be more like that. So do not listen to anyone, only listen to yourself, and to your creative gut instinct. That
right.
would be my advice.
So, I mean, finally, what's next in the pipeline?
I
Music,
don't know.
wise.
Music. I'm working on some new music now. It's quite in its inception stages. तो मैं ज़्यादा नहीं कहना चाहूँगी, but I will say that it's going to be a bit of fusion. I got quite inspired by Bandish.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, being on
Uh,
that set was quite like magical for me because I got exposed to this whole world of classical music that मतलब I'd been to classical shows before, was ज़्यादा बहुत समझ नहीं आया मुझे. Like I was kind of like, okay, like it's cool, but I do not understand what I'm listening to. But after working on those songs so closely, I kind of now have an ear for it. So now it's like this whole world has been opened up for me. So I'm trying to kind of fuse that into my music a bit in some way. I'm still figuring out, but I guess that's the fun part, is figuring out creatively what to do. And then acting wise, there's some exciting stuff that I can't really speak about because it's still in, again, in its initial stages. But hopefully like there's an announcement or something soon and you can
right.
about it.
So, yeah, that's it from my end. Thank you so much, Alia. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Know
Thank
more
you,
about
Yati.
your song and Nadani and Bandish Bandits, and we can't wait to listen to more of your songs and to see you more on the silver screen.
Thanks so much, Yati. It's so good speaking to you. And thank you for your like thoughtful and insightful questions.
Thank you.
Like, I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, Alia.
You too. Bye.